War in Iraq and what it may be doing to Muslims here in the United States, something that tends to parallel what's going on in Iraq. In Detroit, vandalism aimed at mosques and at Muslim-owned shops and businesses. It's beginning to raise some suspicions. People aren't sure who's behind these attacks, but some believe it's a symptom of the split that divides Iraq's Muslims and a product of the war itself. Talking to us now about this, first from Dearborn, Michigan, Rami Shabana of the Muslim Students Association at the University of Michigan at Dearborn, and then from Washington we have Ibrahim Hooper. He's of the Council of American Islamic Relations. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Ibrahim, let me begin with you. Have you seen this trend as well, and what can you tell us about it?
Well, we don't want to exaggerate this trend, but the mere fact that there are suspicions when these kinds of things happen in Michigan indicates there's some level of concern there. So it's an issue we have to address, but we don't want to exaggerate it. We don't want to exaggerate it, but we want to know, because we're now so interested in, the differentiation, of course, between the Shias and the Sunnis, things that Americans in the past haven't known anything about. So suddenly we're into these tendencies, and we certainly find it interesting. Rami, have you seen any of these tendencies yourself?
Honestly, I haven't. I mean, as the president of the Muslim Students Association on campus, and just as a student, especially on the Dearborn campus, you see that there's a large majority of Shiite Muslims and Sunni Muslims, and we seem to get along just fine. So let
me stop you for a minute. When the New York Times reports that there are some people who they talk to in the area around Dearborn, Michigan, and you're probably less apt to find this in a college environment, when they report that there are people who are a little concerned about, for example, identifying their particular religion or type of religion, do you find that, does it surprise you? Let me go there.
It wouldn't surprise me if a few people were to partake in that.
Why would they do that? Why would they do that then?
Well, I mean, you could... you can't have an explanation for that. There are some people who don't have as much understanding. They don't have the depth of knowledge, and they're just going to portray the hate in any way possible. But as I'm saying, on our campus at least, with the Muslim Students Association, all the Muslims, we definitely promote the understanding of each other, of all schools of thoughts.
I think
go ahead, Ibrahim. Yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely, if there is tension, it's a spillover from the horrible situation we see in Iraq, where growing sectarian violence is leading to more and more deaths every day. And we would hate to see that translated into America, and we're going to do everything we can to keep that from happening.
Does it bother you?
It bothers me. The sectarian violence in Iraq bothers me. I wish that wasn't happening.
Yeah, but let me interrupt you just for a moment. I don't mean just what's going on in Iraq. We all know what's going on in Iraq, but now we're reading reports that Sunnis are going after Shias in other countries in the region as well, whereas in the past they got along pretty well, in fact.
Yeah, I think, again, what we're seeing is resulting from this tragic situation in Iraq. It just indicates all the more that we need to do whatever we can to resolve that situation and get out.
Rami, back to you. Do you have any problems identifying yourself as either a Sunni or a Shia? I don't know what you are, but would you among your friends?
Absolutely not. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that on campus we're so comfortable with each other and we're so united that, I mean, I think that from the New York Times, these instances have been exaggerated. Now the whole nation's going to think that these are happening, every day, every hour, but we get along just fine.
It's interesting to hear you guys explain that, and it certainly is good to find out that, at least in your estimation, it's not a huge deal here in the United States. To most Americans, there never would have been a huge distinction had it not been what's going on in Iraq, but we'll certainly continue to follow it. And both of you, Ibrahim Hooper, Rami Shabana, we thank you both for taking time to talk to us about this today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure. There's no